Hey everybody, it's Robert C. Stern with The Social Leader. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. We are all stuck in the Northeast in our homes, so I thought this was the best opportunity, since there's probably so many of you that are stuck in your home, to be educated and what the best way to do. And one of the biggest questions I always get is about Facebook ads. So I reached out to somebody who I recently just met. And it was, we've been connected on LinkedIn and some other stuff, but she is a Facebook ad specialist. And I asked her early this morning, want to go on? And she said, let's do it. She's stuck in New York City right now in her apartment, and we're all snowed in. So what better way to do this? So I want to introduce everybody to Steph Negrin. How are you?
Hello, Robert. Hi, everyone.
How you doing? How's it up by you? A lot of snow?
It's crazy. We're snowed in, so what better way to enjoy the snow day than to talk to all you guys about Facebook ads?
I know. That's why I said we might as well make use of the time. If we can't go out and do our business, we might as well let's do it right here.
Exactly.
So, I know we got some people slowly coming in the room. I see Melody Reynolds is in the room. Melody's a friend of mine from the Periscope days and everything else, and she's still trying to figure out how I did the get reminder and how I do the split screen and, and from me to this. So she's like freaked out right now, but that's okay. So,
well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really appreciating the thought that you put into it.
No, definitely. And this is a big thing that, social media has changed so many of our lives. I mean,
yes,
it's not the future anymore. It's now. Everybody's like, oh, the future's live streaming. The future's this, the future's that. And it's like, no, it's not the future. It's already here.
It's here. It's now. So, it's happening.
And even the large corporations,
yes,
they are all over Facebook ads right now.
Mm-hmm.
They see the momentum.
Yep.
And so I'm curious on your side. Now, just to give everybody out there and everybody who's watching, if you want to share this out, because between the two of us, and I know Steph really more on the Facebook ad side, she's going to be giving some tips and ideas. So let's get this out to as many people as possible. So please share out the stream. One of the things I'm curious, just a little bit about yourself, how you got into Facebook ads and, your area and stuff like that. So this way people get a little bit more idea about you.
Sure. So I started about when I was 17, way before social media even was around. I think there was like MySpace and Zanga at that point. But I was really interested in marketing and just to, know what it's about, know about commercials and things like that. So I put out an ad for Craigslist and I got a response back, and I went to the appointment and the guy was like, all right, well, what are you interested in learning? And I said, I love price theory. I love to know the thoughts of the consumers and what makes them want to purchase things. And he said, okay, well, this is none of that. We're going to do door-to-door marketing sales. So at the time, that was the only job offer I had. So I went with it. And, I went through the streets of Brooklyn. I went through Babylon, Long Island, doing door-to-door, stopping people in the middle of the street, selling little makeup bags. And that's kind of how I got started with corporation world. But from there, I just knew I had to learn marketing. I went to school for economics, so it was kind of related, but not extremely similar. But the way that I kind of infused that was self-teaching myself. So, Google Academics, learning through YouTube. I started my own Etsy website, so I made sure I knew SEO and how to brand myself on Instagram. So definitely learning all the tips and tricks I could and absorbing everything from webinars, from courses. So from knowing all of that, I think my friends and family knew what I was up to and always see me as an entrepreneur. A lot of people were asking me if I could manage their social media accounts. So that's kind of how I got started about a year ago, February. And from there, it just kept growing. And now it's more about the Facebook ads. I think Facebook is just here and it's here to stay. A lot of corporations are looking to expand their network and branding through Facebook ads. So I kind of went with the demand and started learning more about Facebook ads and testing it out and started bringing in coaching clients and one-on-one clients that I would do the Facebook ads for them. So that's kind of why I'm here now.
So what would you say the number one question you kind of hear the most? Like you get these FAQs and you know, we all get questions about different areas of Facebook or Twitter or whatever else. But under Facebook ads, what's like the number one everybody asks?
I think everyone just, yes, I'm here. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I feel like a lot of people are just, is this the right thing for me to do? Is my ideal client on Facebook? And the short answer is yes, they are. 1.86 billion people are logging in monthly on Facebook, and it's just growing. There's a statistic that shows that over 17% each year will continue to grow. So yes, 9 out of 10 times your client, your ideal audience will be on Facebook, and you could definitely target them through Facebook ads.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I was talking a little bit with you before we got in because I was working with a client this morning, and I think the most mind-boggling thing that I find is the targeting. Mm-hmm. When you go in and you're picking those interests and behaviors, and I think people don't realize under Facebook's idea how many there are listed in there.
Yes.
I mean,
it's so super specific. It's amazing.
There's hundreds and maybe even thousands of things that you can choose from. Mm-hmm. Now, in your opinion, I mean, obviously, if anybody has a question while you're watching, I'm saying laughing, watching, please write it in the thing. We'll definitely get into some questions and stuff like that. But one of the things I have with you is, and it depends who you listen to these days, because there are social media, Facebook, Ninja, people all over the place, and live streaming has opened it up to anybody can do this now, mm-hmm. And go on and talk. But do you think it's better to put an ad out as a very minute niche with many specifics, or should you go more generic? Mm-hmm. Kind of fit it all into one ad type of thing.
Right. So for me, I feel like niching down is definitely key because I've worked with people that kind of want to do everything. And I think Pat Flynn says it best, the riches are in the niches. And when you have a specific audience that you're trying to narrow down to, you could speak their language. You could definitely, survey them, see what their interests are, what they want, and speak exactly how they speak and copy exactly what their thoughts are. So when you have that ad that pops up in their newsfeed, it stops them dead in their tracks and they won't keep scrolling. And they'll say, wow, this ad is like tapping into my mind. It's exactly what I was thinking about. So when you're able to just narrow down and speak to one person from one ad perspective, then I think that you really have a possibility of converting that into a customer.
Now, would you say, you could go into so many niches on these things. I mean, yes. You could literally, you could save an audience that has 25 different things and narrowing it so much. But do you think narrowing it too much could also hurt you? In other words, should there be an amount of interest per ad? And then you can always make a second ad for a different group of niches. I mean, what's your feeling about those type of things?
I feel like the key is to test out your ad set. So an ad set is basically the audience size that you're trying to choose. So going with a hair salon, if you want to go to the hair salon, typically you would target women, right? They want to cut their hair, they want to blow dry it and style it nice. So what I've personally done is I would test out 3 different ad sets, so 3 different age groups. You would go from 25 to 35, 35 to 45, and you would just target that and see exactly who's resonating with your ad. The way you could tell if they're resonating is I think there's a relevance score all the way to the right of your power editor, and you could see from the scale of 1 to 10 if it's resonating with them. So for example, I had this happen to me yesterday where I had these 3 ad sets, and 2 of them were doing very well, where one was 7 and one was 9. The other was about 4. So I had to figure out, why is this age group not resonating with the ad. So what did I do? I changed out the photo. And from there, it picked back up. So things like that, just testing out, maybe the copy wasn't right, the language you were using wasn't correct, maybe the call to action isn't strong enough. So don't test too many variables. This is kind of like a science lab. You don't want to test too many things at the same time. You want to make sure that you're pinpointing the problem and solving it by continuing to test it out.
Would you say, just talking about the age part, let's say you were focusing on women 25 to 55.
Yes.
Do you think you should focus maybe 25 to 35 and 35 to 45 and make different ads, because the graphic to make it into a one-size-fits-all might not work as well?
Exactly. So that's exactly the problem I faced. But when I first started, I'm like in day 5 right now of starting this new client. But when I started, I just started with the generic, ad sets. Everyone was seeing the same ad. So once I start going in and continuously checking, I see that my cost per lead is higher for this one ad set. My relevance score is lower. So what does that mean to me? They're not resonating with this ad. Is it the picture? I don't know. Let's test it out. There's no manual. I think people might scour the internet to see how exactly to name things and how exactly to find the right picture. But it's definitely about kind of doing your research and then testing out different ideas that you might have.
For those that are new, that are jumping in, obviously, you found me through the social leader, Robert Stern, with my social media. We're talking with Steph. Is it Negrin or Negrin?
Negrin, yes.
I was making sure which way I said it. Negrin, out of New York City. She's a Facebook specialist. What's great about it is that we want to give out some tips and give ideas about what's going on. And we're also going to put a link in later where you can get a hold of Steph if you want to talk to her a little bit further and maybe see what she's doing and stuff like that. So one of the things I also see, and maybe you can, I see we got a question coming in, so I'll have that in a second for Abby. One of the things I see a lot about with Facebook ads also is video.
Mm-hmm.
What's the length of a video ad these days? What should it be, in your opinion?
I think from 2 to 5 minutes. And I think that also goes for, a YouTube ad as well, because after a certain point, you just want to click away and go back to your daily routine. So I think you really want to capture them within the first couple seconds, but the ideal length is 2 to 5 minutes.
That's interesting, because I would have thought shorter in my mind.
Oh, yeah?
like an ad for a video, like 30 seconds to 1 minute to grab them and click. But you can. And what's nice now with Facebook, with the ads, you can start to put the closed captions in these.
Yes.
Okay. I want to answer Abby's question. I'm going to put it up on the screen so everybody knows what we're talking about. So Abby's asking, are Facebook ads beneficial to companies looking to hire people? That's a great question.
You could definitely do that. What industry are you in, Abby?
It'll take a minute or two because there's usually about 10 or 15. But that's an interesting concept when you're looking to hire people. I didn't even, and that's thinking outside the box to me.
Yes, definitely. So that's definitely a new wave, I feel like. Typically you would go on LinkedIn and find a job, but I feel like recruiters could definitely go on Facebook ads and see, if anyone's unemployed, you could target those people. You could target different age groups.
You can even do a video about, she's in the retail sales reps. She does retail sales reps. But it was interesting. You could do a culture video about your store.
Your company. Yeah.
And use it as a hiring video to get out to people.
Yes. Yes. So the power behind video ads that we were talking about is if someone didn't watch the complete video, you have the power to retarget to them. And there's a way that it chooses if they watch 50% of your video, 75%. So the more that they've watched, you could have a stronger message to them. Like, oh, you almost finished the whole video. I had a lot of information at the end. Maybe click here to see what I was offering. Just continuously to keep them reinvigorated to come back and visit you again.
And jumping on top of Abby's, saying about Facebook beneficial to companies looking to hire people, Michael just chimed in. Michael Gallagher, and he's saying, I run Facebook ads for recruiting realtors.
That's exactly what I was just about to say.
And it's working amazing for him.
Yes.
So I'm curious, let's talk a little bit more about Abby's, because she was asking that specific. So in a retail sales reps, what would be your thoughts on Facebook ads for hiring people? And that's great because it's local.
Right. So if it's a specific location, you could pinpoint exactly where your store is, maybe go 5-10 miles outside of that. Maybe look at different competitors that they might have interest in. So let's say you're trying to hire someone to sell candles for you. Let's say you might want to go to, Bath and Body Works or Yankee Candle and see if they have any interest in that, because you want to make sure that your salespeople are interested in the products that you would eventually be selling for. And as we discussed, you could talk about specific age groups, specific interests that they might have, if they're unemployed, if they moved just into the city and they're looking for a job. You could definitely specify those targets and make it useful for you, as the gentleman's example for realtors. So I think realtors is a very it's a tough market to get into, but if you could find people to join your brokerage, I think it could work for anyone.
It's true. So what also would you suggest? I mean, let's talk pixels for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's getting everybody confused.
Yes. So
there's so many variations of the pixels now.
Yes, definitely. There's an old pixel. There's a new one that came out.
The conversion pixel.
Yes. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with the pixel, it's a bit of code that Facebook has, and it's actually a 1x1 pixel. So it's a pixel on your computer screen that you cannot see. But basically what that pixel does is you put it on your page. And every time that someone goes and visits your page, it fires off a message to Facebook that says you just had an event that happened. So whether that event is someone checked out your checkout page or someone went on your thank you page after they opted into a voucher, let's say, you're able to capture that and analyze it further. So the pixels are very useful for retargeting ads. And retargeting ads are, for example, when you go on Best Buy and you're looking to buy a new flat screen TV, and when you go back on Facebook, that flat screen TV is chasing you around all around the internet. You're going to read.
I get that with insurance recently.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I get all these insurance ads all over the place. I'm like, oh my God, they got pixels in there.
Right, and you you read like a New York Times article or something on another page, and it's there, like it's another ad right within the article. So you could definitely use that to your advantage. I know it creeps me out when I first looked at it. I'm like, oh my God, this is like Big Brother. They're all over the place. But for internet marketers, it's really revolutionizing the way that we sell products online. But so the way that would work is if, let's say, someone visited my page but didn't visit the thank you page, I specifically tell Facebook, retarget the people that saw this URL but did not see this URL. And I could change the way that the ad looks so it's more specific and say, hey, I noticed that you checked out my page but you didn't grab the offer. What gives? Or, you would say something like, don't miss out because it's about to go away soon. And you would include a link and bring them back to the landing page that you originally had. So
there's basically, sorry to cut you off, but it's basically like the new way to do email marketing.
Exactly.
Email marketing is the same way where if you sent out 1,000 emails to somebody and let's say 500 of them did not open them up, you can retarget in some of the email systems 3 days later to resend saying, I noticed you didn't open this.
Right.
And you can retarget to people that have looked at your ad, clicked it once, maybe didn't do anything, and now they go back and you can retarget back to those same people because they showed interest of something.
Exactly. And whether that be your blog, let's say you don't have, a landing page set up yet. If you have a blog, you could do it with a blog. I noticed that you read this. If you're interested, here's some more articles that you might want to look at. If you have a webinar hey, I noticed that you signed up for the webinar but didn't actually make it to the live room. Do you want to see the replay? So you always want to bring them right back to the main target that you had for them and re-engage them always.
Yeah. Yehudit's chiming in. I put it up. I love this pixel retargeting strategy stuff. Just wanted to let you know she loves that idea.
Yes.
So again, if you're just jumping in, if you have a question about Facebook ads, please don't be afraid. Type it in. We'll pop it on the screen. Steph can answer because this is kind of her niche. She's very into Facebook ads, the ins and outs. What is your feeling on? I noticed in the ad system a few weeks ago that you can target people going in with retargeting now that have watched your videos a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your take on this now because now with live streaming involved and you can get, okay, the people watched it for a minute, I want this ad to go to them.
Right. So you're saying how many times they actually watched the one video
now there's a strategy to see how long they stayed on. If people watched it more than 30 seconds, because 3 seconds was the automatic that it just does. You could set it up now for 30-second views, people that were on at least 30 seconds, that an ad can now go towards those people.
Yes, exactly. So I think you could do it by percentage as well, which I like to do. So if they watch, 25 to 75%, you might say you'd want to retarget them as well because, yes, I think that's Lindsay's question. So
I just put it on the screen. Yeah. You can target someone based on how long they have watched a video.
Yes. So I would say, hey, I noticed that you were watching my video. Did you actually sign up? And I gave more value, on this page. So they have specific, I think it's 25 to 75% of the video or even 100%. But if they watched 100%, I think you could just assume that they clicked over, or you could also target them as well. But I usually go about 50%. So I want to retarget the people that made it 50%, maybe clicked off, got distracted, forgot to click over. So you could definitely hit them with a retargeting ad as well for those people.
Yeah, Michael's chiming in again. He said, you set it inside the audience setting.
Yes.
With the videos and stuff like that. And that's what I'm saying. There's so much going on right now. I mean, Facebook's changed, they changed their algorithm again the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Little things here and there, and it changes the whole view of how we can post things and everything else. It's also showing how Facebook ads have been changing, because now it's going to be really interesting how these Facebook ads are going to start coming into the video place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which we haven't really seen a lot of yet, but it's slowly starting to filter in. Okay, so Lindsay, who I know, she actually lives in Jersey here with me, she just wants to clarify, are you retargeting to watch that video, or can you target them to watch a different video?
I think if you're retargeting, I would just say to go to the landing page at that point, or you could show them the same video and then tell them to finish watching it. If it was like an informational video, you might want to do it that way. But let's say if you just had like a quick ad that you wanted to put out, if you were retargeting, I would just say, hey, I saw that you were watching the video, but you didn't click over to grab the voucher or grab the PDF that I was providing, and maybe put a picture to kind of call it out a little bit more. I mean, you could do the video again, but I would just kind of keep it moving, because they might just watch halfway again and repeat the same action that they did before.
Okay, and yeah, because Michael chimed in again. Michael's got these great comments. He has found that it's a fine line between under-defining and over-defining your audiences. What's your take on that?
Yes. So when I was doing chiropractors, so I was helping out 2 chiropractors in different parts of the United States, and I was kind of testing it out. At first, I kind of did very specific pains that they were having. So I would target sciatica pain, lower back pain, maybe TMJ, specific interests that these people would have that would warrant them to come in and visit a chiropractor. I noticed that I wasn't getting as much conversions out of them, unfortunately. So I kind of opened it up and I made it very broad. I did my split test again with the women and men and different age groups. And I found that, sometimes people don't even know that they are in need of a chiropractor until you kind of put it out there and you say, yes, I do have back pain. I do, I'm pretty miserable actually. So now that I see your ad, that kind of came into my head and I'm going to go check out, what you offer. And the offer that I'm giving them is relatively a great deal, because that's another thing. You want to make sure that it's low risk to them, because you're not going to go and spend $90 over one Facebook ad. So yes, definitely keeping that balance between over defining and under defining is dependent on which niche you're going in and who exactly you're wanting to target. So again, testing out everything, making sure that you're making the right actions for your business as you go along.
Now, one of the things, because Lindsay, I know, because she actually works with realtors. Mm-hmm. She helps with some training and doing some stuff with realtors and stuff. And the real estate industry should be all over social media because it's like perfect for them. Plus everybody else. I mean, don't get me wrong. Restaurants, doctors, yes, everybody should be using social media as a general, but Facebook is obviously the elephant in the room that if you're not on it, don't tell me your clients are not on it, because they are.
Right.
I actually had somebody say, well, I said, tell me what area does not work for social media. And a guy said a funeral home. And I said, believe it or not, it would. You target the right people that are maybe involved with nursing homes or different things for people to be prepared. Mm-hmm. So it's really just how you look at it. Getting on the aspect with ads more in depth, and we talked a little bit about the pricing and stuff. I was working with somebody recently, and I was finding out they were spending like almost $200 a month on ads. Mm. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because if the return is there, who cares?
Right, exactly.
But the return wasn't there yet. And I was like, why are we spending? And it was like the same ad, just kept redoing it and redoing it and redoing it and redoing it. And it was almost like going on a year, just redoing it the whole year, the same ad, not changing it. And I usually say for people that have not used Facebook ads yet, start at that $5 and $10 range.
Exactly.
And even if you want to go to bigger groups, but we talked about it earlier, I mean, your aspect on this, if you're going to make these niches, do $5 on that niche, $5 on that niche, $5 on, all at the same time, because that also tests your market.
Yes.
So, I mean, what's your take when you train and coach on that aspect? Because a lot of people are like, I don't want to spend like $300 on ads. And I'm like, you don't have to.
Yeah. So particular with me, when I first started, I wanted to see what industry I wanted to work with. So I targeted dentists, I targeted chiropractors, real estate agents to see if they wanted to do Facebook ads. So when I did the chiropractor niche, I just put in $5 per day. I just targeted the chiropractor list of job titles. And with that, I actually spent $20 and got 3 discovery calls. So it's possible. And you don't have to spend $200 to realize that it's a bad idea or, waste that much money before you actually see that you're getting a return. You get a return within 5 minutes and $5 worth. So I feel like paying attention to your metrics is very key. One very important thing is, take a look at your relevancy score, take a look at how much your cost is. If you're a real estate agent, fine, your cost could be a little bit higher because your return is much higher. So you could be spending upwards from like $2 to $7 per lead, right? But if you're spending like $60 per lead, turn that off. Like that's not a good investment right there. And it depends on the industry, I feel like. But in my scenario, I learned very quickly that it was working. So I kept scaling it and it worked out fine. But if it's not working, turn it off and try something else. Maybe change the the objective, change the photo, change the copy, not all at once, just test it out.
Now, you brought up the metrics, and I think that's really, really important. I think a lot of people don't know how to read their insights, shall we call them, the metrics, when you get into the ad manager, because there's all these little columns, how many did it reach, and how many did the click, and how many did that. What are the things that you think are the most important? Besides getting a phone call for a job, but...
I think that the most important things to look at is the reach. So I want to see how many people reached it, that it came across. I want to see how many clicks came through. I want to see the click-through rate, how many people are actually clicking through, and if the percentage is high, and also the relevancy score. So anything above a 6 is, in my eyes, good, 10 being the best. So that would be something, yes, the business manager is confusing.
Once you sign up into Business Manager, you can't get your page out of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like really, really confusing. But just to go back 1 second, explain about the score. Because I don't think a lot of people understand what is entailed in the score that you're talking about, and what is it involving.
So from what I know, the score is how many people actually read, the read more button, how many people read through it or commented or liked, took some kind of action on the ad itself. So back to my earlier example, I had the same ad show across 3 audiences. One was doing 9 and the other was doing, I think, like 4 or 6 at the time. So same ad, but one was resonating a lot more than the other one. So to figure that out, I had to play around with photos and copy. But yep, exactly. So the likes and the buttons is what kind of measures that.
Yeah, because now getting on here, so Michael's got a good question. He ran a video ad. He got over 1,068 reach, 639 3-second views, which to me is funny. Looks like it was about 1.5
cost per view.
Yeah, 1.5 cent cost per view, which is actually really low. The relevancy score of an 8, but he didn't get the engagement. So here we got a high score, but he didn't get the engagement. So where do you see that fall into place?
What was your call to action? I'm curious to know, what was the offer? Maybe people
if you can chime in on there.
Yeah, because maybe people were watching the views and they were enjoying that. I would retarget them.
Well, how big is a 3-second view to you? Because to me, it's nothing.
It's not. Yeah.
It's the autoplay.
Right.
So
they're looking at the first few frames, and then they hop off.
While he's typing, hopefully, an answer, so we know what the CTA was and everything. Rich came in. Are there any industries which aren't cost-effective enough or too much of a pain in the butt to do ads for? Rich, I love the way you phrase that.
I think it depends, because for me, I might not go for those industries, but if that's your industry, I would go for it. But let's see, what industries aren't cost effective enough?
I mean, MLMs are cost effective. I mean,
yeah,
direct
like
sale.
You said, funeral homes and life insurance. Like I feel like.
Well, insurance and financial has a lot of obstacles involved because a lot of the companies, like the big ones, MetLife's not MetLife anymore, but the financial services industries, they don't allow them to do a lot of stuff because of legalities.
Gotcha.
Especially because you got to remember, state to state is different and a lot of things. So on the financials, because I know a lot of financial people and they do want to do more on the social media, and their companies don't even allow them, a lot of them, they're only allowed to use the articles that are approved. So financial industries is probably one that's probably in there as the pain in the butt, because there's so many regulations that they've already put in place with social media.
So I'm wondering if you could just go around that and post maybe a blog post, some kind of information on there, so that way they go into your email marketing, and then you sell them something in the back end for your sequence. Not so much upfront. You know, you can't do discounts and things like that up front, I'm sure, because of the legalities. But let's say, you know, top 10 reasons why you need life insurance, and have maybe a quiz, or have a cheat sheet or resource guide or something for them to opt in and read more information about it. And that way you have them in your email, and Facebook doesn't own that. You own that. So you're able to follow up in the sequence and nurture them, and maybe they get on the phone with you that way.
Okay, Michael's pulling up that data so that he was going to answer your question about his question, but Lindsay had a nice one here. She thinks, in her opinion, what she's hearing, the biggest mistake advertisers are making on Facebook video ads is not paying attention to their average view time on videos. She can't imagine how much money has been spent on ads that haven't actually been viewed for more than 3 to 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think that, you know, you can't really help how much time they're spending watching the video, but you can retarget the ones that are interested in actually watching more than 25, 50% of the video. So you may be spending money on the front end, but if they eventually convert and you know, you retarget them and they are able to eventually get on your landing page or on the phone with you, then I think that it's worth it to me for those 3 seconds, or 0.015 cents per 3 second view, right?
Yeah, really. See, one of the things I teach a lot about, you know, it's a lot about storytelling, is social media as in general, whether it's your blog and you're resourcing it out, or if it's a live stream and things like that. And I think your ads can also be part of a story of you or your company. So with Lindsay's case, and Michael, I know you're in real estate too, and some other people that might be watching, to me, it's like, why don't you do a video ad about your town and why it's so great to live there? Because it does twofold. It pushes you out there about the town, but at the same time, it's also showing your knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's not necessarily saying, hey, you know, I'm only trying to get buyers, I'm only trying to get sellers. But if you're putting it out there about the town itself, that could change a lot of aspects, and that could be, and with a CTA on it to go to your webpage or your listings or whatever else.
Right.
But it's just another way to think, because ads do need to go outside the box. We got to get rid of this box idea. You need to be creative.
Yes. So I was doing Facebook ads for a commercial real estate agent in Rutherford, New Jersey, and he made a fantastic video about, you know, the town and how close the specific office space was to all the restaurants, and a lot of detail into this video was put into it. And I got a lot of views, and a lot of people clicked over. It was a very niche down ad because it was only serving doctors. So it's it was too short of a time span to get any actual traction on that investment. I think it was about 2 weeks I ran the ad. But if it were longer, I think it would have been very, very positive outcome. But so I think the videos, like you were saying, showing the town, showing the benefits of being in that town. Maybe it's not a town that the person was looking into going into, but now that you showed them, you know, the area and showed them the possibilities, it's something that might trigger in their head and become more interesting to them.
Yeah, even a restaurant. That way, a restaurant, you could be showing things, the chef cooking, this, that. You make it into a quick video with some music in the background and maybe some, you know, closed caption on it, you know, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But that's another way to talk about your restaurant and not selling your restaurant, but you are selling your restaurant. All right, so Michael came back. All right, so 542 people of the 639 made it at least 10 seconds. 10-second average watch time. 20% of the viewers were still there 30 seconds into the video. Video was an under contract video on a property. The call to action was contact me to get the same results, message me button.
Okay.
He said he didn't get a lot of engagement. I remember that from the beginning when he started this.
And Michael is a real estate agent, correct? Do you know Robert? Okay,
Yeah.
so for a real estate agent, what I've been doing is I offer them something a little bit different, and it's been working really well. So I would offer a list of homes within the median sales price, and you could have, your list from MLS. So that person would see your ad and see the nice townhome that you have on the ad. They click over, they enter their phone, name, email, and they are then given an email with a link of all the homes that fall under that median sales price. So let's say, I'm from Nassau County, New York. So the median sales price here may be, $400,000. So I would send them a list or higher.
I grew up on Long Island. It's higher.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm being low today. So I would send them everything from that point lower. If people will want to see the lower options. And from there, I would ask, are you also looking to sell your home? I could give you a quick tips guide of how to increase the value of your home when you're selling. So there you have a 2-for-1. You have a buyer lead and a seller lead as well. So when I get on the phone, using the lead ad form or a landing page, I would use a landing page, Michael. So when you get on the phone with the lead that I just provided to you, you could have that conversation with them and a script that I usually send to my clients, which is, I see that you're interested in looking for a house. What specific things are you looking for? How many bedrooms? I see you're also interested in selling. Like, would you want to come into the office and sign an exclusive listing agreement? So there's other ways to go about that. I think video ads could be helpful, but there's other methods that are currently working really well for a lot of real estate brokers.
Okay. So Walter, I know Walter, he's a photographer. He's got hundreds of thousands of pictures out there that he can sell and things like that. His comment is, I think the biggest mistake that any advertiser is making is advertising, since no one wants to see ads. And so if an advertiser instead tells a story and a viewer becomes interested in finding out an answer to a question, that they have been watching a story and the answer turns out to be what the advertiser would otherwise advertise, then you'd have something worthwhile. So in other words, he's kind of going a little bit more off the presence of like what I talked about with the real estate, about describing the town. It's a story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm a realtor, but let me tell you about Short Hills, New Jersey.
Exactly.
Let me tell you about what it offers in film and this. They know you're a realtor already because you said it. So it's interesting that Walter chimes in. And do you see the shift a little bit with Facebook ads that way, or is it depends on what's going on?
I think it depends. I mean, you would definitely want to switch up your strategy. Social media, a lot of people don't want to be sold to. So if you're teaching them something of value or showing them the area, I think that would be very beneficial. Because if I'm on Facebook, sometimes I don't want to, read a bunch of stuff. I just want to see a quick video, or I just want you to tell me, top 3 reasons why I should be interested, and kind of keep it moving that way. So I feel like testing out a different strategy, it doesn't hurt.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk very quickly about closed caption.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's important on the ads?
I think it's very important because I know, for one, first thing in the morning, my husband hates when I do this, but I grab my phone and I'm already on Facebook looking at the wall.
70%, that's 70% of the world.
Yeah.
Do it before you go to the bathroom.
He hates it, so I have to be under the covers, like checking and stuff. But it helps. It helps to have the captioning, and a lot of the times when it doesn't, I can't click on it, unfortunately, to watch what the video is about. But if I knew the captioning, you already got my attention. Maybe I bookmark it. Maybe I wake up a little bit earlier and check it out. So that definitely helps to not only capture someone's attention, but to, in case they miss a word or something, you're restating it during the closed captioning.
And a lot of people don't know this yet, but Facebook now has the captioning in place with a voice recognizer when you do videos and upload them, because there is inside your system when you go into your video and you go into the definition of the video, it actually voice recognizes everything clip by clip, and you can make sure it's right. But at the same time, you can take certain parts out and put and change the wording a little, and it's all done for you. You don't have to send it out to be done.
It's so amazing. Like, they keep getting better and better with everything. Like,
it used to be you had to upload another file with it. What was it? I forgot what they used to call it. It was a second thing you had to upload with your video, and it timed it and everything. Now it's already in the system. And I think a lot of people still don't know that. So, yeah, it's definitely something to look into. And I'm a big believer in the closed caption, especially for ads.
Yes, definitely. I wish some of the videos that you would watch too, but sometimes it's like cute puppy videos and they don't really need a captioning. But
which way do you spell roof? So what are, because we're coming close here, it's thing. If anybody's got another question, please chime in. I'm going to add, I'm just curious, what is a tip, or 2 or 3, however you want to do it, that you would give a small business, because most of the people that are going to be watching this are small business people, whether it's real estate, restaurant, retail, doctors, whatever, to get involved with Facebook ads. If they are involved with them already, even if it's just a little bit, what is something that's going to help them, like a tip?
I think the biggest tip that I would give someone is to, before you start, make sure you have your offer in place and work backwards, because I've seen it so many times where people just kind of think about the Facebook ad and think about the pretty colors and what they're going to say, but they don't think about the process and the sales sequence that you're taking your prospect through. So for me, it takes me quite a bit of planning just to get to the point of publishing a Facebook ad. And I think about, what am I offering? What are the goals that I'm doing? What's the target audience? Taking them through step by step and pre-planning each page, because another thing is, you don't want to just say, all right, thank you for giving me your email. Okay, bye. Like, you want to make sure that you give them something extra or take them to another part of the sequence. Maybe you want to take them to your Facebook group and continue there. Maybe you want them to purchase a one-time upsell. So definitely pre-planning is the key part. Don't throw your money against the wall and hope it sticks. Just stop feeding Facebook extra money and not getting a return on investment.
I have a blog article called "Do you use the pasta method as a strategy?" Just keep throwing pasta on the wall and see what sticks. That's what made me think when you said it.
That was me at one point, and I can't tell you, once I learned the right way of doing Facebook ads, it changed so much. Like, just the planning is the number one thing I would tell anyone starting out.
Well, Linda chimed in, Santiago, and she's got an interesting question, because this is now going to a newer business, let's say, or a homemade business. What do you suggest for us small homemade businesses that don't have the funds to do a lot of advertising, but want to be seen?
So, hi, Linda, by the way. I'm her niece-in-law.
Oh, but, okay.
Yes.
That's right. Abby, who asked the question earlier, that's my niece.
So
we got one.
Yeah. It's good to see families supporting each other. But so when I started out in Etsy, and I didn't have the funds either to go on Facebook ads. I actually didn't even think about it at the time. I think it was only exclusively for bigger businesses in my eyes. So what I did was use organic social media. And by that, I mean, Pinterest, I mean, Instagram, Facebook as well. So from there, I got a lot of followers and a lot of people looking into my Etsy business. It's more about finding where people are more physically, seeing the visual things versus spending money. For your specific example, I would go more of the organic route, the free route, and grow that to a certain point where you could then reinvest your money into advertising when you see it fit.
Interesting. And like we even said, part of what you could be doing is even just like once a week, $5.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't have to be tons of money.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to get started, I actually gave a woman advice about a week ago. She sells cuff bracelets, and she put in $25 for Facebook ads, and she got a sale that day for $75. So she was able to make back money and then some. And the advice I gave to her was, look at who's already in your market as a competitor. You know, in her case, I said Alex and Ani because that's another brand that sells bracelets. So, you know, target them, maybe target Forever 21 or another person. So you're already targeting where that person is currently shopping, and you're just showing it to them. You're showing it to that audience that it's already interested and warmed up to the idea of buying your product. So that's something I would suggest as well, starting out for small businesses.
Also, it's got nothing to do with the ads, but don't forget about Facebook Live.
Exactly.
Go on and just talk about it, and I mean that's free.
I'm still in these Etsy groups, and I see this one woman, and it's crazy. She sells blankets, and she will be on Facebook Live every day in these groups, which have like thousands, like 10,000 plus people in them. And she's doing a live auction of blankets, and she's showing them, has numbers on them, and people are auctioning, and it's free. You know, exactly what you said. Facebook Live is free. Show them exactly what your product is. Go on Periscope, do the same thing.
Yep. You can Periscope and Instagram Live, and now YouTube's going live with the whole situation. But it's interesting because like a lot of the direct sales, like the LuLaRoe, and there's one opening up Oysters for Pearls, and these guys are on these Facebook Lives for like hours. But what they've done is they made their own groups on Facebook, and people join in and they do live shows on it selling their products. Mm-hmm. And the LuLaRoe is big on this now with the pants and stuff. And literally, they sell unbelievable amounts of product on that stuff.
It's like QVC or something like on Facebook. It's
yeah. And Michael just chimed in. Have you seen the Pearl Lady? She opens up and sells the pearls.
That's so funny.
It's one of these direct marketing things with pearls, and she literally opens them up. You buy them. You bought a pearl. Opens up an oyster. This is your. Oh, it's a black one. Blah 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 blah. And they're on for hours. I'm talking like 3-4 hours at a time, but they're selling, and that doesn't cost you anything. No. So it gets money now that you can start to build the business through other ways afterwards.
Yes.
So. I thought I saw another question. Oh, Michael was asking about BeLive.tv, which we're on, the cost. Michael, it's really, really expensive. It's called free. BeLive.tv we are on right now. We're able to see the comments live coming in through our browser and everything. And in fact, we can change the screens around and do certain things. But it is free, so you can check it out at BeLive.tv. You can do it off your profile, a special event page, a group, or a business page. But you can only do it to one. But Steph and I had actually shared this out to places, so it's actually showing live in about 13 different areas on Facebook right now. So Steph, do you do more coaching, or do you take on clients and run their ads for them? Your business.
Currently, I am running Facebook ads for clients, but I did open up this past week coaching because I find that a lot of people maybe can't do the continual monthly fee that I charge, and they would rather learn how to do it themselves because it is a great asset to know how to do this yourself. Maybe eventually you'll be able to outsource that and save a little bit of time and thought process to just outsource it. But I do offer coaching now, and I find that it's very valuable because I know exactly what company or what kind of structure that you have, and I could give you specific strategies and tips and tricks of how to target specific audiences that way. Yeah,
your website, it's stephnegrin.com, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I just put it into the chat area. It'll pop up in a minute, so this way everybody's got the link. So this way they can do it. And
I also have, I created a PDF sheet just in case any of you wanted to go through the notes. It's bit.ly/ads planner, ADS planner, and it goes exactly through 6 questions of what you should ask yourself in order to detail and pre-plan your next Facebook ad and funnel.
Okay. I don't. It was between the bit.ly and everything. I think you have something on the bottom right or in the bottom with the comments. It says you can comment as.
Oh, let me see.
Right on the BeLive browser.
I don't see that actually.
Oh, it's right where the chat is. Usually there's a line underneath.
Let's see.
Where you see the lines coming up, there's usually you can type it in yourself and just put it right on there.
It says chat with host.
No, that's the separate one. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
You can do it afterward. You can actually put the link right on the bottom of it, and everybody will get notified and everything like that. Lindsay, take care. Sorry you got to jump off. We're going to be ending up soon. But, Lindsay, we definitely got to connect because I know you're in town with me, and we never see each other. So definitely reach out if you are looking for Facebook ads help specifically. The link, like I said, I put it in there for Steph. She obviously you've heard she really does know her stuff, and that's a hard thing these days because there's a lot of us out there specializes in that area. So and obviously you can reach out to her direct through her site if there's a question or anything else. I thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for having me, Robert. I appreciate it.
Yeah. It was fun. It was a good way to, it was a slow day.
We'll do it again soon.
Definitely. Thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously, if there's ever a question on social media, you can always chime into me on my website or whatever else. And I will definitely talk to you guys soon. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Take care.
Bye.